The Mimosa project was very interesting. The client came to us with a brief, actually from the Feng Shui Master, to say that she needs an X number of trees at this area and X number of trees at that area. So when it first came to us, we actually didn't want to take on the project because, in our mind, it was something very traditional landscapers can do, to just plant a fair number of trees in each area. But the owner wanted us to give the brief a try and want us to reinterpret the brief. The space is more Victorian-inspired, more European-inspired. So when we look at the space, we thought, okay, there's some potential to make it slightly more interesting than what most traditional nurseries can do. So we came back with a proposal. What we want is to have a garden that is slightly more colorful, a little bit more variation. We wanted plants that are very easy to care for, basically just minimal care. So if you look at the plants that we chose, they are a little bit, there's a contrast in colors. When the sun shines on it, hits on the plants, you can see that it's very bright and vibrant. We also had varying heights for the plants, so there's layering. Most landscapers might do is just one set of plants, all the same height or similar plants, or sometimes they clutter it too much. So I think for us, we play with negative space as well. You'll see some empty pockets of space and some taller trees that stands out more than the other. So this contrast and this interplay of different varying heights, I think makes the whole landscape more interesting. And very thankful, she loved it immediately, and that's how we got started on the project. For us, we believe in customization. We don't just stick to one color or one style. So you can see that in our portfolio, every space is different, and we actually design according to the space rather than design according to our brand. Planco has been in existence for the past 4 to 5 years. This year, we are coming on to our 5th year. We started off as an online retail and then a retail store, and started on taking projects only about 2 years back. So for landscaping and plantscaping projects, that's about 2 years. For live plants installation, I think it's a lot harder than artificial plants, because for artificial plants, there's no consideration for lighting, no consideration for water drainage, no consideration for aftercare. But for live plants, there are a lot of considerations. We often hear our parents say, I've got so many plants, this plant always don't do well, despite watering it. Yeah, that's because you have 10 plants, not all of them need to be watered at the same time. Only that 5 needs to be watered at the same time, that 5 will do well. The other 5, some may need watering twice a week, some may need watering more than twice a week, or less than twice a week. If you water them all at the same time, some will be overwatered, some will be underwatered. We have this thing called the chopstick test. So with the chopstick, we are able to test the soil to see how much is dry. So some plants, you need them to be 10% dry, some plants are 25% dry, and some plants completely dry. There are times where interior designers or even owners come to us at the end of their project, after the design is done. In fact, sometimes almost when renovation is completed, or sometimes even post-renovation. So doable, but not the best. I think if you really want to incorporate the garden into the entire space, it's best to come to us at the start of the design. Okay, reason being, no disrespect to interior designers, but as designers versus we plant people, we probably know plants a lot better and their necessary conditions. So it's very easy for sometimes a designer to drag and drop plant into the design and it looks good. But sometimes there isn't sufficient consideration for whether there's sufficient light, whether there's water drainage, for the plants. For artificial plants, not a problem at all. But for live plants, I think all this must come into consideration. So if the designer could speak to us right from the beginning, I think we would be able to give better suggestions, or recommendations on how to do the plants, where to do the plants, and what kind of plants are suitable. So, for example, a lot of designers probably would take a reference from interior magazines, ID magazines, and a lot of these magazines, they feature the same plants throughout, if not the fiddle fig. But there are a lot of plants, there are millions of plants out there that people don't know, and haven't been explored. So for us, we go around different nurseries to source for different plants. So we might be able to find something that's more interesting to suit the deco rather than just a very typical plant, that you see from most ID magazines. All these are planted about 3 to 4 months down the road, and when we came back to look at the plants were all doing very, very well. Compared to when we were first planted, I think they really flourished.